The first mark was discovered only after docking, not on the auxiliary hull, not near the airlock, on the main armor, where no one had looked in years. The transport pilot noticed it by accident, when the service light shifted a few degrees too far. The titanium was not smooth. It was not burned. It was not damaged. It was pressed in. Two shapes. Hands. Human. Fingers spread wide, as if someone had tried to hold on. The mark was not superficial. The material was not melted. The armor structure had been remodeled from the outside, several centimeters deep. Vacuum does not leave impressions. He froze. The suit transmitted only his own breathing. Senses registered nothing abnormal. No radiation. No anomaly. And yet he had the distinct feeling that something had already been here. He moved the light farther and saw another mark. One hand, torn away violently, as if something had ripped it loose. Along the edges of the imprint, the titanium was rippled, like flesh after trauma. As if metal had not been metal at that moment. It is impossible. Slipped out before he could stop himself. The system did not respond. The ship was silent. He moved closer. Too close. That was when he saw the lines. Fine grooves stretching farther along the hull. Drag marks. Not from fingernails, but from entire arms. There was only one direction. Toward the front of the ship. Toward the place where the hull met interstellar space without any shielding. He clenched his hands inside the gloves. There was no alarm. No warning signal. And yet he was absolutely certain that if he looked at the external camera, something would look back. He didn't look. Instead, he activated surface logging. Material analysis began almost immediately. Algorithms tried to match the deformation to known patterns. Micrometeor impacts, structural stress, manufacturing defects. None of them fit. The final result was brief, imprecise, unclassifiable physical interaction. Cold settled beneath his ribs. Another mark appeared higher up. This one complete. Both hands, fingers pressed deep. As if someone had tried to crawl into the ship, he noticed something else. The impressions were not random. They formed a sequence. A rhythm, like footsteps, except they ran along the hull. On the outside, in vacuum, he stopped. The light trembled for a fraction of a second. It seemed as though one of the fingers moved. He blinked. Nothing. Easy, he told himself. They're just marks. But marks of what? He remembered old reports. Stories whispered in cargo ports, of vessels returning from the void with scars, of metals that behaved like tissue, of bodies that refused to let go. Another line appeared, deeper, clearer. This one did not resemble a hand. It resembled a rib cage, as if something had pressed its entire weight against the hull. As if it had tried to breathe through the ship. Sensors registered a micro-vibration. Minimal, singular, then silence. No, he whispered, you don't breathe. In response, the armor beneath him subtly yielded. It did not crack. It softened. He pushed off violently. The magnetic boots responded with delay. For a moment, he lost balance. The light went out, not completely. It dimmed, as if something had blocked it from the outside. Soft crackling filled the helmet. Not interference, something more organic, like friction. He switched to emergency power. The image returned. There were more marks. Dozens. Some partial, some smeared, as if something had been dragged across the metal with immense force, and at the same time gently. Along the hull line, bulges appeared. The armor didn't rupture. It transitioned into another state. Smoothed out. Wave-like. Like skin after a blow. That's when he understood. This wasn't an attack. It was contact. "You're touching," he said, though he didn't dig no tool. The response was pressure in his chest, not physical. Sensory, as if something were trying to match a rhythm. He breathed. The ship trembled. A new message appeared on the display. Not system generated. Structural compatibility. In progress. "You're not compatible," he whispered. "This isn't a body." The pressure increased. Pain flared in his arms, not from the suit. From inside, as if muscles were trying to perform a movement he hadn't initiated. The magnetic anchors released. He drifted for a fraction of a second before the ship pulled him back into the airlock. The door sealed with a metallic clang. Silence. The interior of the ship was normal. Too normal. Systems operated within parameters. The hull showed no further deformation. External cameras recorded nothing useful, only a static image of the armor. Smooth. Too smooth. He removed his helmet. His breathing shook. He looked at his hands. On the fingertips were marks. Subtle, as if the metal had responded. He checked the manual log. The deformation sequence existed. The data was coherent, materially consistent, but one thing was missing. There was no point of origin. As if the marks had always been there. At last, he looked once more at the hull, through the viewport. Where he had previously seen hands, there was now something new. Not an imprint, a pattern. A delicate structure resembling muscle fiber, as if the ship had remembered the touch and wanted to repeat it.
Earth, Arc Laboratory, File 48291.
Aga. The recording doesn't end where it should. A synchronization error. No. It's as if it's waiting for someone to look.
Do you want to be part of this story? Support our project. Buycoffee.to/butterflyproject.